Welcome to my channel. I'm thankful for every single person that comes to my channel to watch my videos. I'm especially thankful for those of you who have subscribed to my channel. I'm amazed by the growth that I've had because I don't do any advertising at all. I don't have any social media accounts. So it's just amazing to me that this many people are subscribing to my channel. I want to thank every one of you that likes my videos, that comments on my videos, and that shares my videos. I want to ask you a question today. Have you ever thought about considering issues that come up in life from a nonpartisan perspective? Asking yourself, how does this affect me as an American rather than me as a Republican or a Democrat or a conservative or a liberal or whatever you consider yourself to be? Well, there's an issue that has come up that concerns me a great deal, and I'm going to play a little bit of this Tucker Carlson interview to give you a flavor of it, and then we're going to talk about it.
If someone had told you even 10 years ago that you could be indicted by the federal government and go to prison for 10 years for making fun of Hillary Clinton on social media, you would not have believed it. It's a free country. We have free speech. But it turns out not only is that possible, it has likely become much more common because the actual war is over information. One of its first casualties is a man called Doug Mackey, who during the 2016 election made fun of Hillary Clinton on Twitter, and then a few years later found himself the subject of a federal raid, an indictment, and then a conviction. It's a shocking story. It's hard to believe it's happening in this country, but it is. And to prove it, Doug Mackey joins us now. Doug, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Tucker.
So I've never even seen you in person before. You have not, I don't think, spoken about this publicly, or at least very often, since it happened. So give us just a quick background on who you are. I read, I think, in BuzzFeed that you were a dangerous white nationalist militant. Are you?
No, not at all.
You don't seem it. Where are you from?
I grew up in Vermont.
In Vermont.
Yes.
Not a hotbed of white nationalist militancy. And where'd you go to college? What were you doing during the 2016 election, et cetera?
I graduated from Middlebury College, which is also in Vermont.
Yep.
And then I moved to New York. I lived there about 6 years. That's where I was at the time of the election, the 2016 election.
What were you doing?
So I had just left my job, but I was previously an economic researcher.
Huh. So first, like a Wall Street firm or something like that?
Something like that, corporate America.
Yes. So what were you doing during the 2016 election?
So I was posting a lot of stuff on Twitter under a pseudonym about the election.
What kind of stuff?
Pro-Trump memes, jokes, all kinds of links, that kind of thing.
Why were you doing that?
Just purely out of passion.
So you like Trump?
I like Trump, that's right.
Why?
I thought he was a breath of fresh air for the country. I think that his analysis of the problems with the country, with the ruling class of the country, I liked what he was saying, and I thought he had a positive vision for the country.
Now, the fact that this guy is pro-Trump will automatically turn off some people. And they'll immediately think to themselves, I don't care if anything bad happens to him. But the question you need to start asking yourself is, did the bad thing that happened to this guy affect my life in a way that I'm not aware of that could be very bad for me in the future? Because you see, power swings back and forth. And what you don't want is to have precedents set that can be used against you in the future simply because of your political beliefs. That's what's going on here.
Where were you politically before the 2016 election?
I was sort of conservative. Previously, I was sort of libertarian. But earlier in my life, I was sort of apolitical.
So you weren't a lifelong political activist?
No.
but you got excited about Trump and you decided to support him on social media. At the time, did you think that was your constitutional right?
Yes, absolutely.
Why'd you think that?
Well, I thought that this was America. I thought that we had First Amendment,
Okay.
due process rights, that we could criticize people in our ruling class.
It looks like you thought wrong. So let's get specific about what you did, the crimes, the felonies that you committed on Twitter. I want to put this up. You posted this on Twitter. This is a meme. It says, "Save time, avoid the line, vote from home." And it's got a picture of Hillary Clinton. Text Hillary to this number. Did you make this meme?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't create this?
No.
Where'd it come from?
I found it on 4chan.
Okay, so it was floating around the internet.
Yeah, these kind of memes were floating all over the place.
And you posted it on Twitter. What was the point of that?
Well, pardon my French, but it was called a shitpost.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot at the trial. I testified. Just sort of a joke, rile up everybody, muddy the waters, and mostly just because I thought my audience would find it funny.
Did they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I find it hilarious. You're obviously from Northern New England. You have a very dry sense of humor.
Very dry.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. So, did you get a sense when you posted that that was a crime or that it would be perceived as a crime?
No, absolutely not.
Which of us would? I mean, when did it become a crime to post something on social media? And yet, if you Google this guy's name, Douglass Mackey, you can find numerous media articles about him and why he should be and has been convicted and what the crime was that he committed. That's right, crime. It's unbelievable to me. This is the statute that is being used, or that was used, to convict him. And it's the same statute that's being used to go after Trump. This was written in 1878. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district, in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or laws of the United States, etc., etc. And the punishment is a fine or imprisonment for not more than 10 years. This law was written to try and put a stop to the Ku Klux Klan. It's actually called the Ku Klux Klan law. But our government is now using it to go after people for speech. Now, you might like the fact that they're going after this guy because he's pro-Trump, but you won't like it when they go after you because you're pro-Biden or pro-liberal or pro-whatever it is you happen to be pro. This is a very dangerous thing that they're doing. And what's interesting to me is this is a website, and I'll put all these links in the description for you. This is a website that talks about his story. Now, I don't particularly care for what he did, but as a veteran, part of my code of ethics is that you defend anyone, regardless of how repugnant they may be, for their speech. This guy posted a meme on social media, and 7 days after Biden took office, 4 years after the election of 2016, they went after him. And they went after him with a vengeance, and they convicted him and sentenced him to 7 months in prison. He's presently appealing his conviction. But there's two things that bother me about this. The first thing is, if you go back and read the law for just a second, if two or more persons conspire, if two or more persons are conspiring, why was only one person charged with a crime? Why was only one person convicted of a crime? Who are the conspirators? You see, what the government did was they argued that because he posted a message that could deceive voters into thinking that they voted for Hillary by texting a string of numbers to a text on a text machine or on phone or whatever, because he may have deceived some people, he committed a crime. Now, I'm going to get to this article in a little while, but I want to read this because this really bothers me. According to the government, they were able to discover 4,900 people, unique phone numbers, that may have followed his texting instructions. 4,900. Okay? Now, they didn't find anyone who said that they thought they were voting. They didn't find a single person who they could prove in court was harmed by the message that he tweeted. And yet, they convicted him of a crime. They convicted him for tweeting something. Think about that for just a minute. They didn't even try to prove that those people had voted, thought they had voted by texting. They didn't even prove that they were fooled by it. They never contacted these people. They just went to the phone records. They found 4,900 people who contacted that phone number, and they said, aha, there's our proof. That is frightening. That is frightening that you can get convicted on that thin of an evidence. They have accused him in the press of committing fraud, but he wasn't charged with fraud because he didn't commit a fraud. They're using this statute, the Ku Klux Klan statute, to find him guilty. They used it already because he's been found. He's now appealing. They used this statute to find him guilty of conspiring to abrogate someone's rights because he sent out a tweet. And there are people, including this professor who writes this article, Andy McCarthy, who's a former U.S. prosecutor, that this was their test case, their precedent-setting case that will help them to convict Trump. Because Trump said some stuff and some people did what they called an insurrection, which we now know that we've been lied to about, that professional police officers have perjured themselves in court about, that the government has withheld evidence about. We now know that the so-called insurrection wasn't anywhere near as violent as they claim it was. But they're using this case as their precedent to say that Trump should be convicted because he said, I didn't lose the election. They are criminalizing speech. And as much as you may hate Trump, I don't care if you do or not. I don't care for the guy myself. But as much as you may hate Trump, if you don't see the danger in this, if you don't see how absolutely terrifying this is, then you're letting your partisan politics get in the way of your good sense. And you need to stop and think about what you're thinking about. It's just absolutely, it's terrifying to me. It's absolutely terrifying to me that this can happen in America. Think about it for just a minute. If they decided to, they could go after a politician for saying, don't vote for my adversary. That's the implications behind this. They could go after a politician for saying, my adversary is crooked, and when he's not. Politicians lie all the time. They could go after any politician they want, any time they want, if they can convict them for speech, for saying things, for printing flyers, for doing anything at all regarding an election. It's absolutely terrifying. And if you don't think it'll be used against your side, whatever your side happens to be, just wait. It will be if we don't put a stop to it. This has to stop. It has to be defeated. And I hope that Mr. Mackey, who is appealing his case, will win in the appeals court and win in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will slap down the Department of Justice and tell them, no, you cannot convict people for speech. Because if they don't, one of your last freedoms is gone. And then it's Katie bar the door. I'm really, really, really concerned about my country. The direction we're heading is evil. It's horrible. It's anti-freedom. It's arbitrary. And it's frightening. As always, I pray that you will be abundant, that you will live a long life, and that you'll be healthy, and that God will keep you safe. I pray also that God will do the same for every single person that you love. And I pray that you will be anxious for nothing, but in all things, through prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, you will let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God that passes all understanding will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This is the Vietnam Era Vet out.